Dear Infinite Spirit, we open our hearts and minds to your presence today. Guide our thoughts, our words, and our actions so that we may recognize the divine whispers that surround us each day. Help us to slow down, to listen, and to trust that you are always communicating with us through love, through signs, through life itself. Amen. Good morning, my friends. I want to invite you for a moment to pause, to simply be here. You see, most people are searching for a loud, dramatic sign from God, a voice from the clouds, a miracle that defies logic. But the truth, the deep and beautiful truth, is that God doesn't always shout. God whispers. He speaks through coincidences, through people you meet at just the right moment, through challenges that redirect you, through beauty that stops you in your tracks. Every sunrise, every struggle, every act of kindness, it's all part of the divine conversation happening with you right now. The question is not, is God talking to me? There's a profound intelligence in silence, a divine whisper that can only be heard when the noise of the world fades away. Most people live their lives surrounded by constant motion, the endless chatter of thoughts, the buzz of notifications, the hum of responsibilities. We wake up to alarms, rush through routines, fill every gap in the day with screens, voices, and noise, and then we wonder why we can't hear God. My friends, the truth is beautifully simple. God is not absent. God is silent, and silence is His language. When you learn to become quiet, to still your mind and rest in the present moment, you open the doorway to divine communication. I often tell people the quieter you become, the more you can hear. That's not poetry, it's spiritual physics. When your mind is noisy, your frequency is cluttered, you're tuned into static, fear, worry, doubt, anxiety. But when you become still, your frequency rises to match that of divine energy, and suddenly what was once invisible becomes clear. You begin to notice the soft guidance that has been with you all along. You see, God doesn't shout to get your attention. He doesn't compete with the world's noise. Instead, He waits patiently for you to slow down. He waits for the moment when you choose to be present, to sit in stillness, to breathe, to simply be. Because in that sacred stillness, the divine can finally speak to you, not with words, but with awareness. Think about it this way. When a lake is disturbed by waves, it reflects nothing clearly. But when it becomes still, it mirrors the sky perfectly. Your mind is that lake. When it's agitated by constant thought, you can't see the reflection of God. But when it becomes still, the divine image becomes crystal clear. Most of us have been trained to believe that doing is more important than being. We measure our worth by productivity, by how much we accomplish, by how fast we move. But spiritual wisdom teaches the opposite. It says that being is where the sacred begins. You don't need to climb mountains or achieve miracles to hear God. You only need to sit quietly and listen. Silence is not empty. It sets full of answers. It's in the silence that intuition is born, those quiet inner nudges that tell you, call this person or take that step or let that go. Have you ever felt a sudden knowing, a feeling of clarity that didn't come from logic or reasoning? That's God speaking in the most natural way possible through your inner awareness. When you meditate, or even when you simply sit in peaceful stillness, you're not escaping the world. You're tuning in to its divine rhythm. The mind wants noise, the soul wants silence, because silence is the native language of the soul. Every spiritual teacher throughout history, Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, taught in one form or another the sacred art of stillness. They all withdrew into silence before returning with wisdom. Jesus went into the desert. Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree. Lao Tzu disappeared into the mountains. Why? Because they knew that the voice of God is not heard in the crowd, but in the quiet space within. When you begin to practice silence intentionally, something miraculous happens. Your perception changes. You start noticing the beauty in ordinary moments, the way sunlight moves across your room, the sound of the wind, the rhythm of your breath. These aren't random, they're sacred. They are ways God reminds you, I am here always. And as you become more comfortable in stillness, your inner dialogue begins to soften. The worries that once seemed loud become faint. The fears that once ruled your thoughts lose their power. You realize that beneath all that noise, there's a steady peace, an eternal awareness that has always been there waiting for you to remember it. That awareness is God's presence within you. It's easy to mistake silence for emptiness, but silence is the container of creation. Everything that has ever been created, from a painting to a symphony to an act of love, began first in silence. The same is true for divine guidance. Before God moves in your life, He speaks in your stillness. When you cultivate moments of quiet, whether it's through meditation, prayer, a walk in nature, or simply sitting alone in gratitude, you align yourself with the frequency of creation itself. You become a channel for divine energy to flow through you. I like to think of silence as the sacred space between thoughts, that gentle pause where infinite intelligence resides. It sits in that pause that God communicates directly to your heart. And the message is always the same: you are loved, you are guided, you are never alone. So many people say to me, "Wayne, I wish I could hear God. I wish I could get a sign." And I tell them, you don't need to wish. You just need to get quiet enough to listen. The divine doesn't play hide and seek. The guidance you're looking for is already within you. It's just buried beneath layers of noise and distraction. Try this. Sit in silence for a few minutes each morning. No phone, no music, no goals. Just you and your breath. At first, the mind will resist. It'll say, "This is boring," or "You're wasting time." That's okay. Let the noise come and go like waves on the shore. Don't fight it, just watch it. Eventually, the waves will calm, and you'll find yourself in that beautiful sacred stillness where God lives. And when you start living with that awareness, everything changes. You'll begin to notice synchronicities, the right people showing up, the right opportunities unfolding, the perfect timing of events. These aren't coincidences, they're confirmations. They're God's way of saying, "Thank you for listening." The truth is, silence isn't just a practice, it's a relationship. It's the way you say to the universe, "I trust you, I don't need to control every outcome, I'm open to your guidance." And in that openness, miracles happen. So today, my friends, I invite you to embrace silence, not as an absence of sound, but as the presence of the divine. Make it your sacred ritual to pause, to breathe, to listen. Because in that stillness, you will discover the truth that SIP's been there all along. God has never stopped speaking. We've just forgotten how to hear. Every person you meet, every event that unfolds, every circumstance that crosses your path, none of it is random. There are no accidents in a universe that is governed by divine intelligence. Everything and everyone that appears in your life is there for a reason, part of a perfect orchestration designed to awaken you to higher awareness. When you begin to understand this truth, life no longer feels chaotic or unfair. It becomes a classroom, a spiritual classroom, and God is the teacher, using the people and events around you as His gentle messengers. Think for a moment about the people who have shaped your life. Some of them came with love and kindness, others arrived with challenge and pain. Yet if you look deeply enough, you'll see that both types were necessary. The loving ones reminded you of your divinity, and the difficult ones revealed where you still needed to grow. Both were divine appointments, chosen not by chance but by purpose. I often say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That applies especially to the people and circumstances in your life. When you stop seeing them as coincidences or annoyances and start viewing them as divine messengers, everything shifts. The person who irritates you may be teaching you patience. The one who leaves you may be guiding you towards self-reliance. The one who believes in you when you doubt yourself may be God reminding you of your worth. We often pray for signs from heaven, yet we overlook the signs that are right in front of us. God doesn't always speak through thunder or visions. He speaks through your neighbor, your child, your coworker, even the stranger who smiles at you on a difficult day. Each of these moments is an opportunity to hear the divine whisper, "I'm here." Sometimes a person appears in your life for only a brief moment, but that moment carries the weight of eternity. You might meet someone at the grocery store or on an airplane who says something so simple, yet it changes the direction of your thinking. You might hear a line from a song or a passage from a book that feels as though it was written just for you. These are not coincidences, these are divine arrangements. The universe is far too precise to be accidental. And sometimes God uses challenging people to do His work. The ones who criticize you, oppose you, or cause you pain, they too are part of your spiritual journey. They press against your ego, revealing where you are still attached, still reactive, still wounded. Without them, you might never grow. When you meet someone who stirs up frustration, pause and ask, what is God showing me here? Perhaps He's teaching you forgiveness. Perhaps He's showing you how to stand in your truth without anger. Perhaps He's asking you to respond with love where your instinct is to defend. Every encounter has a hidden curriculum, and when you approach life this way, you begin to live consciously instead of reactively. The same is true for circumstances. Every event that unfolds is a mirror of your inner state. The universe is always reflecting your beliefs, your fears, your energy. When something happens that seems unfair or painful, it's easy to say, why is this happening to me? But the more empowering question, the one that invites divine wisdom, is what is this here to teach me? If you look back over your life, you'll see that the most difficult times were also the most transformative. That heartbreak led you to rediscover your worth. That failure redirected you to a greater path. That illness slowed you down enough to hear your soul's call. God was not punishing you, He was guiding you. There is a story I often share about a man who prayed for patience, and then everything in his life became frustrating. He prayed for courage, and suddenly he was faced with challenges. He prayed for peace, and chaos erupted around him. Finally, he said, God, why are you giving me all these problems? And God replied, I'm not giving you problems, I'm giving you opportunities to practice what you asked for. That is how divine communication works. God answers your prayers not with magic, but with experiences that call forth your growth. Every person and every situation is a response to the vibration you send out. When you emit love, love returns in many forms. When you emit fear, life mirrors that too. It's not punishment, it's feedback. The universe is simply showing you what energy you're living from. When you start to see others as instruments of divine will, your relationships change. You become less judgmental, less defensive. You begin to see beyond appearances. You realize that even the person who seems lost or hurtful is at some level a soul doing the best they can with the awareness they have. You stop reacting to behavior and start responding to essence. One of the great shifts in spiritual maturity is moving from what can I get from this person to what is God showing me through this person. That shift turns ordinary relationships into sacred ones. The parent who challenges your patience, the child who awakens your tenderness, the friend who disappears just when you thought you needed them. Each is playing a divine role in the theater of your awakening. The beauty of this awareness is that it brings peace. When you trust that everyone is a messenger, you stop blaming. You stop feeling like a victim. You realize that even when something seems to go wrong, life is actually going right according to a plan greater than your own. I've often said that the universe is like a great symphony, and each of us is an instrument. Sometimes the music sounds discordant because we can't hear the full composition. But if you could step back and listen from God's perspective, you'd see that every note, every joy, and every pain fits perfectly into the melody of your evolution. There will be times when God speaks through circumstances that you wish were different. The loss of a job, the end of a relationship, the closing of a door you thought was meant for you. In those moments, remember, rejection is often redirection. The divine doesn't take things away to harm you. He removes them because they no longer align with where your soul is growing. When something leaves your life, say thank you. It's not the end, it's guidance. Life is rearranging itself to serve your highest good. The person who walks away, the opportunity that fades, the challenge that arises, each is a sacred messenger saying, trust, there's more for you beyond this. So as you move through your days, pay attention to the people who cross your path. Notice how you feel around them. Notice what lessons they bring. Every conversation, every encounter is a mirror reflecting either your love or your resistance. The ones who awaken your love are blessings. The ones who trigger your resistance are teachers. Both are instruments of God. The next time someone irritates you, silently bless them. Say, thank you for showing me where I still need to grow. The next time life surprises you, say, thank you for reminding me that God's plan is bigger than mine. This is how you live in divine partnership with the universe, by recognizing that everything is happening for you, not to you. When you live with that awareness, you stop searching for signs. You realize the signs are already here, in the smile of a stranger, in the timing of a phone call, in the unfolding of your day. God speaks through life itself. Your only task is to stay awake enough to notice. So today, open your heart and look around. The divine is speaking through every face you see, every challenge you face, every blessing you receive. Life is not random. It's sacred communication. Every person is a messenger, every circumstance a message, every moment an invitation to hear God say, "I am with you always." There's a sacred voice within you that never stops speaking. It doesn't use words and it doesn't compete with the noise of the world. It's soft, it's steady, and it's always loving. That voice is the presence of God within you, your intuition, your inner knowing, the quiet compass that guides you toward what is true. You were born with this connection. It's not something you have to earn or learn, it's who you already are. You are not separate from the divine, you are an individualized expression of it. You are, as I love to say, a piece of God disguised as a human being. And when you remember that truth, you begin to understand that every feeling, every inner nudge, every spark of inspiration that rises within you is not random, it's communication from your source. God speaks to you most clearly not through your intellect but through your heart. The intellect analyzes, questions, and doubts. The heart simply knows. When you trust your inner knowing, you're trusting the divine wisdom that created you. Think about the times in your life when you just knew something without being able to explain why. Maybe you met someone and instantly felt peace or discomfort. Maybe you had a sudden impulse to take a different route home and later discovered it saved you from an accident. Maybe you felt a deep pull to start something new even though logic said it doesn't make sense. That's intuition, the voice of God guiding you from within. So we've been conditioned to look outside ourselves for answers. We ask others what to do. We seek approval. We overthink. But the more we chase guidance in the world, the further we drift from the divine compass inside us. God's voice doesn't shout from the clouds. It rises gently from your own soul. It's always been there, whispering through your emotions, through the feeling of peace that comes when you're on the right path, and the tension that arises when you're not. You see, your feelings are sacred messengers. They are not to be feared or ignored. They are to be understood. When something feels good, when it feels light and expansive, that is God's energy saying, yes, this is aligned with love. When something feels heavy, constricting, or filled with fear, that is your inner guidance saying, no, this is not your truth. The universe speaks through vibration, and feelings are vibrations in motion. The emotion of joy vibrates high. It's in harmony with the frequency of divine love. Fear, anger, and guilt vibrate lower. They pull you away from that natural harmony. That's why joy feels so good. It's not just an emotion, it's resonance. When you're joyful, you're tuned in to the same frequency as God. The key is learning to listen, to quiet the mental noise long enough to feel what's true underneath the thoughts. Most people live entirely in their heads. They analyze, compare, and doubt until their intuition becomes drowned out. But the language of the divine isn't logic, it's feeling. You don't think your way to truth, you feel your way to it. When you honor your feelings, you begin to live in partnership with the divine. You stop forcing, you stop striving, and you start allowing. Life becomes less about controlling and more about flowing. Because God doesn't guide you through fear or urgency, He guides you through peace. If you're unsure about a decision, pause and ask yourself, how does this feel? If it feels calm, if your body relaxes, if your heart expands, that's the sign. If it feels tense, if there's anxiety or resistance, that's not your path, no matter how logical it seems. You might call it intuition, inner guidance, gut feeling. It doesn't matter what name you give it. What matters is that you learn to trust it. Because every time you follow that inner nudge, life begins to unfold with a sense of grace that no amount of planning could create. Doors open effortlessly, people appear at the right time, challenges resolve in ways you couldn't have predicted. That's not coincidence, that's divine alignment. I once said, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. When you live from your inner knowing, when your outer actions match your inner truth, you become a magnet for divine flow. The right experiences gravitate to you because you are living in harmony with the energy that created worlds. Listening to God through your feelings also means being willing to feel deeply. Many people suppress their emotions, believing that sadness, anger, or pain are signs of weakness. But your feelings are not enemies, they are teachers. Pain is not punishment, it's information. It tells you where you're still holding resistance to love. When you allow yourself to feel fully without judgment, those emotions move through you, and in their wake they leave clarity. God speaks even through your pain, often most clearly there, because pain cracks the ego and opens the heart. Every emotion, when met with awareness, leads you back to love. Fear invites courage, sadness invites compassion, anger invites boundaries, guilt invites forgiveness. Each feeling, when understood, becomes a bridge between your human self and your divine self. You might be wondering, how do I tell the difference between intuition and fear? It's simple. Intuition feels calm and certain, even if it asks you to step into the unknown. Fear feels frantic, pressured, and heavy. Intuition whispers, fear shouts. Intuition invites, fear demands. When the guidance comes from God, it never carries anxiety with it. It brings peace, even when it challenges your comfort zone. Developing this sensitivity takes practice. Start by taking a few moments each day to check in with yourself. Close your eyes. Breathe. Ask quietly, what am I feeling right now? Don't try to fix it or label it, just listen. Feel the sensations in your body, tension, warmth, openness, tightness. Your body is the instrument through which divine wisdom plays its song. The more you listen, the more fluent you become in its language. As you begin to trust your feelings, you'll notice that you no longer need external validation. You stop needing everyone's approval because you've learned to approve of your own truth. You stop waiting for signs from the sky because you realize the signs are already within you. God doesn't speak more to some people and less to others. He speaks equally to all who are willing to listen. The difference lies in trust. When you live from this inner guidance, your life takes on a natural rhythm. You'll find yourself in the right place at the right time, saying the right words without effort. You'll feel supported even when things seem uncertain, because you'll know that your compass, your connection to the divine, is intact. You'll stop striving to figure everything out and start allowing life to reveal itself. And when you follow that inner voice, something else happens. You begin to feel at peace no matter what's going on around you. That peace is not the absence of problems, it's the presence of alignment. It's knowing that you and God are co-creating every step, and that even if the path doesn't make sense yet, it's leading you exactly where you need to go. So the next time you feel that gentle nudge, that sense of this feels right, or this doesn't, honor it. That's not just your mind talking, that's the infinite wisdom of the universe moving through you. Trust it, follow it, let it guide you. Because when you live guided by your inner knowing, you're no longer wandering through life hoping to find God. You're walking with Him step by step in every choice, every feeling, every breath. God doesn't just speak to you, He speaks as you. And when you listen to that truth within, you'll never again doubt that you are divinely led, eternally loved, and already home. There are moments in life when things don't go as planned, when doors close, relationships end, opportunities slip away, and nothing seems to make sense. It's in these moments that many people begin to doubt. They say, why is this happening to me? Has God forgotten me? But my friend, the truth is that God never forgets. The divine is always guiding you, even and especially when the path seems unclear. What you see as delay or disappointment is often the hand of God, gently steering you towards something far greater than you can imagine. I want you to imagine life as a great river. You are in a boat moving with the current. The river knows exactly where it's going. You can fight it, trying to paddle upstream, or you can trust it and flow with it. When you surrender to the flow, the journey becomes peaceful, even when the bends are sharp and the water's unpredictable. The current is God's timing. And when you trust that timing, you discover that everything, every pause, every detour, every apparent setback is divinely orchestrated for your highest good. You see, God's plans don't operate according to human clocks. We live by seconds and minutes. The universe moves by seasons and alignment. What seems late to you is right on time in the eyes of the divine. Every delay is preparation, a space for growth, healing, and alignment, so that when your blessing arrives, you are ready to receive it. When something doesn't work out, the ego wants to control. It says, I must fix this, I must make it happen. But your soul knows better. Your soul whispers, wait, trust. This pause has purpose. Sometimes God slows you down because rushing ahead would harm you. Sometimes He delays your plan because He's preparing people and circumstances behind the scenes that you cannot yet see. I've often said, everything in the universe is happening exactly as it should, even if you don't understand it yet. Life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. Every challenge you face is a hidden blessing, an invitation to grow closer to the divine. Think about the times in your life when you were disappointed, truly disappointed. Maybe a job you wanted didn't come through. Maybe a relationship ended and it broke your heart. Maybe an idea you believed in failed. Yet if you look back with the eyes of wisdom, you'll often realize that what felt like rejection was redirection. That job that didn't happen made space for a better one. That person who left your life created room for someone who truly belonged. That failure became the foundation of your strength. Life has a mysterious way of working itself out when you stop fighting it. The very thing you resist might be the thing that's trying to save you. When God closes one door, He's not punishing you, He's guiding you to another, one that leads to the growth your soul came here to experience. Every challenge, every obstacle carries within it a divine message. Trust me. That's what the universe is saying in those moments when nothing seems to move. Trust me. I know the way forward even when you cannot see it. Trust me. What looks like an ending is the beginning of something new. Sometimes God removes things from your life, not because you're unworthy, but because they're unworthy of the next version of you. When you evolve, the universe rearranges itself to match your new vibration. Certain people, habits, or situations no longer fit the energy of where you're going, and so they fall away. It may feel painful, but it's sacred pruning. The gardener must trim the branches for the tree to bear fruit. When you're in the middle of difficulty, it's easy to forget that growth often feels uncomfortable. The caterpillar doesn't realize that being confined in a cocoon is part of the process of becoming a butterfly. In that darkness, transformation happens. The same is true for you. The waiting, the struggle, the uncertainty, these are the cocoons of your soul preparing you for a greater expression of light. One of the greatest lessons life will teach you is patience. Patience is not passive, it's powerful, it's an act of faith. It's saying, I trust that divine timing knows better than my timeline. When you stop forcing and start allowing, you open the door for miracles. The universe can't deliver blessings to clenched fists. It delivers them to open hands. When difficulties come, instead of asking, why me? Try asking, what is this teaching me? That shift in perspective transforms suffering into wisdom. You begin to see that challenges aren't obstacles, they're instruments. They're carving your character, deepening your compassion, and strengthening your connection to God. Every hardship carries a lesson, and the faster you learn it, the sooner you move through it. I often recall moments in my own life when things didn't go according to plan. There were times when I thought I was losing everything, only to later realize I was being set free. I learned that when you stop resisting what is, peace arrives. Acceptance doesn't mean you like everything that happens, it means you trust that everything that happens serves your evolution. If you're facing delay right now, if you feel stuck, unseen, or uncertain, remember this: silence is not absence. Stillness is not inaction. God is never inactive. Even when you see nothing happening, something is being woven beneath the surface. The universe is aligning people, timing, and circumstances in your favor. Your only task is to stay faithful, stay present, and keep your heart open. When you learn to trust divine timing, anxiety fades. You realize that you don't need to chase what is meant for you. What is meant for you will find you when you are ready. The energy you send into the world through your thoughts, your intentions, your vibration, magnetizes experiences to match it. So instead of worrying about when or how something will happen, focus on who you are becoming in the process. Sometimes, challenges are God's way of slowing you down so you can hear Him. When life feels heavy, when things fall apart, it's often because you've been moving too fast or straying too far from your center. The divine uses struggle not to punish, but to call you home, to your inner stillness, to your faith, to your higher self. And when you look back, you'll see that those moments you thought were breaking you were actually shaping you. The unanswered prayers were blessings in disguise. The detours were divine protection. The delays were not denials, they were preparation. Imagine if everything you ever wanted came instantly, without waiting, without struggle. You wouldn't value it and you wouldn't grow from it. The waiting seasons strengthen your faith muscles. They teach you surrender, patience, and trust, qualities that align you with divine flow. So the next time life says, "Not yet," say thank you. Thank you for this pause, for this space to grow, for this unseen preparation. Thank you for protecting me from things I can't yet see. Because the truth is, God's timing is always perfect. It may not align with your calendar, but it always aligns with your soul's purpose. In the end, every challenge becomes a doorway. Every delay becomes a teacher. Every disappointment becomes a blessing wearing a disguise. The universe is never against you. It's always conspiring for you. And when you live with that awareness, you stop fearing life's uncertainties. You begin to move through them with grace, saying, "I may not understand this now, but I trust that someday I will. And when I do, I'll see that it was all love." So breathe. Trust the pauses. Bless the challenges. They are not interruptions to your path, they are your path. And through it all, remember this unshakable truth: God has never left you. He is speaking to you through every delay, every detour, every closed door, saying softly, "Be patient, my child. I am preparing something beautiful. Just wait and see."